Hi, today I'm gonna talk about my favorite type for each generation. So whenever I play through a region or generation, what type I feel myself drawn towards using multiple of. So for example, in Kanto, I tend to start with Charmander. I know Charizard gets a lot of attention, but I just always end up picking him because he is cool. So I end up with a Charizard. And then I do like ostriches, so I always want to use a Dodrio. So that's another flying type. And then Dragonite, the OG pseudo legendary, cute and cool. I love my boy Dragonite. So I always end up wanting to use like 3 flying types and Gyarados. Can't have a Kanto team without Gyarados, or a lot of teams without a Gyarados. So that's like 4 flying types right there. And I always feel like I have to, not use all of them because, who's gonna use 4 flying types when it's, or, 4 of any type when it's not a monotype challenge. So, yeah, that's today's video. So for Kanto, my type is flying. Let's see, for Johto, that's a little harder. I find myself probably using Totodile line, the Mareep line, and maybe Heracross the most. I go back and forth on Gyarados for this game, because on the one hand, you get a free shiny one, so I want to use it. Then on the other hand, I'm already starting with Totodile. They both get Ice Fang in Gen 4, so it's and Crunch, so it's very similar coverage even. But then also it's Gyarados. And so many of the new Gen 2 Pokemon are either underpowered or you can't get them until post-game Kanto anyway, so it's might as well, right? And so I go a bit back and forth, but so Johto, I'd probably say I end up using multiple water types. Gen 3, I'm probably attracted to the Gen 3 fighting types the most. I'm a Blaziken girly. And then Breloom's really cool, so there's another fighting type. I've never actually used it in Gen 3 because of the physical special split, meaning the elemental punches aren't, working on the pure power attack boost for Medicham, but I do always want to use Medicham and then realize yeah, those coverage moves are a bit useless on it, but I always want to. So yeah, for Hoenn, I'll say fighting is my type. Let's see. Sinnoh, I'll probably say ground because Turtwig is my favorite Pokemon. So I will always start with it and end up with a ground type Torterra. I don't always use the Gible line because obviously, they're a pain in the ass to get, and then I already have the ground type in Turtwig, but I do always find myself oh, it would be so cool to have a Garchomp. It would be so cool to have a Garchomp. But yeah, another region where I don't have a strong type preference. But I would say ground gets slight edge there. Then for Unova, never played a Unova game, so gonna skip that. Same with Kalos, never played through a full Kalos game, never played through a full Alola game. And then Sword and Shield, because of the wild area, it's so open and you never really know what your encounters will be. But so it's a bit hard to be like, oh yeah, this is my consistent what I want to use. Also, I haven't played it as much as like Diamond or Ruby, but I will say Sizzlipede and Roly-Poly, at least in the early game, I'm like, oh, I want to pick those up. So maybe slight preference towards fire types for that reason, but again, it's like there are so many options that you can get from even so early on that it's hard to say. And then similar in Paldea, you know. In the open world, you can just get so many things from so early. I will say now that in Gen 9, now that Gallade has the sharpness ability, it just slices through everything. So that is my, you know, if I'm going to pick one Pokemon, it will be a Gallade in my Paldea run, so yeah. And I do find myself not using Psychic types very often, so I will say, like, you know, if I do, like, want to have a Breloom for a little bit, or if I do want to have a Lucario for a little bit, I guess that gives the edge to the fighting type, but again, another region without a strong type preference. I guess I just wanted to make this video because in Kanto, I want to use a lot of flying types, and in Hoenn, I want to use a lot of fighting types. And I think, you know, everyone talks about their favorite type. Mine varies by region, so hope you enjoyed.